My name is Omar Toulan. I'm the Dean of the MBA program here at IMD Business School, located in Lausanne, Switzerland. 1 year doesn't seem like a lot of time, but the fact of the matter is the intensity of the IMD program allows us to do things with regards to leadership, which I think other schools aren't able to do. The fact of the matter is we start the leadership journey week 1 of the program and continue it all the way up until the week before graduation. Some people call us the longest leadership program in the world because our focus really is on developing leaders through our MBA program. And I'm very conscious never to use the word teach leadership because it really is meant to be a personal journey. And therefore, it's not just learning about different types of leadership styles, it's really understanding yourself as a leader. In this journey, we have everything from leadership coaches, which we've been doing for 40 years, probably the first school to do that. We have leadership labs where they work individually, but also in teams with their coaches. I would say, one of the hallmarks of our program is what we call the PDE. The Personal Development Elective. And this is where students have up to 20 hours of psychoanalyst sessions with professionals to really probe and make sure they understand what is it that they want to achieve, what is important to them in life. Because this is an opportunity for them to really make a pivot in their career. And if they don't stop to think about these big issues, it's going to be a wasted opportunity. And so for us, leadership starts with really understanding yourself and being able to lead yourself, and then obviously being able to lead others in that process. So again, I think, a 1-year program, given the intensity of it allows people to make changes which otherwise they wouldn't be able to. I always tell people that, companies will look at you based on the last thing you've done. And so many of our students who do want to make one of the, let's say, pivots, whether it be geography, industry, or function, having an MBA, in particular, I think the IMD MBA, which does focus on leadership, allows them to look at positions which companies would not have considered them for in the past. We are a generalist MBA, so in some ways it gives you a bit of a clean slate to be able to move in a direction which otherwise you wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And like I say, this is a very intense program. We have class between 6 and 8 hours every day of the week, which is much more intense than any other program I know. And so it does allow people to get to a level where they're comfortable making that pivot. And I would say probably on average, people pivot at least 1 to 2 of the 3 changes, and in some cases, all 3. I think, leadership development is something which, the intensity of the program and the intensity of the relationships that people develop allow people to, like I say, think about bigger issues, questions which, like I say, if it was a slower paced program, would be easier to procrastinate on. And we force them to think about these questions, right? It's the core of the leadership stream. And I think the intensity of it also allows people to, let's say, be more comfortable in sharing these issues with each other than they would be if it was a more casual program. Like I say, the bonds which are created in this 1 year because of the intensity allow for conversations which I think otherwise would not take place, and very personal ones which they're able to share with each other. 2 years is actually the very minimum. The average of our program is around 7. So we do have a few people who might have 2 or 3 years work experience, but they all have to pass the same hurdle, which is our assessment day. And so in that assessment day, we can see, does this person have the maturity, even if they only have 2 or 3 years of work experience, to be an effective leader. So the leadership bar is the same whether or not you have 2 years experience or 7. But there are some people who, mature at an earlier age and are able to handle these big issues and take on leadership roles at that age. I mean, think about it. Alexander the Great was 25 when he conquered, half of the Mediterranean world. So age alone isn't a determinant of leadership, I would say. I think we're very fortunate that, our faculty is I think 98% foreign. And so, we have all people with all different backgrounds, all different nationalities, experiences. I think one common thing that they all have is they are all amazing educators and experts in pedagogy. And that's, I think, is what they bring to the classroom. And having the diverse national backgrounds in some ways reflects the diversity of the classroom as well, because just as with our faculty, about 98% of our students are also foreign. And so they can see themselves also in and bring in company examples from different parts of the world, and have a knowledge, not only from their national background, but also from the fact that all of our faculty also teach in our international corporate programs, and so can bring in real world examples. I'm going to be teaching a program in Singapore in 2 weeks for a Japanese firm. Then I'm teaching one in Saudi a month later. And so, obviously protecting confidentiality, you're able to bring in the experiences of global firms, not just European or not just North American ones, to the classroom. I think, cohort diversity is fundamental, and it's both on the national side or nationality side, as well as I would say on the socioeconomic side, that becomes very important. And one thing I'm very proud of is that we've dramatically increased the amount of scholarships in recent years, so that the economic diversity of the program has also increased quite substantially, in addition to the national diversity, which has always been there. And I think it's important for people to, one, be able to understand different norms and mores that people have from different parts of the world, because most of our students will be working in a country which they did not grow up in. That's just the fact of where grads end up. And the ability to, if you intersect the international component with the leadership focus, you have to be able to lead individuals who might be very different than yourselves. And how do you do that? And I think having that ability to have these conversations with people with very different backgrounds is fundamental in developing those key leadership skills. We have a variety of different company projects built into the program. I would say the one which is sort of the capstone and where the most time is dedicated is the International Consulting Project, which is a 5-week full-time project which our students perform with an international company. And to give you an example, this year we have projects in Uruguay, Colombia, Mexico, Benin, Saudi Arabia, and then spread all over Europe as well. And these are projects where the clients, and I do call them clients because they are paying clients, the fees go to the scholarship pool of the school, which then are used for the following year. And these are projects which are scoped by our team here, and then the expectation is extremely high on both the faculty side, so there will be a faculty advisor as well, but also obviously on the client side. I just had a meeting yesterday with one of my two client projects that I'm overseeing, and they were very, clear, the client, that this is something which is very important to them, and that, they will take these recommendations in developing the strategy of the firm. This is a firm of a few $100 million. So like I say, these are projects which are meant to have an impact, which again is the goal of the school overall, and give them real world experience. And like I say, expectations are high, but it gives them an opportunity to apply all the concepts that they've learned over the course of the year to these intense projects. Our MBAs can end up pretty much anywhere, I would say, but the majority do, first of all, geographically tend to stay in Europe. About 30 to 40% of our students come from Europe, but about 65 to 75% end up staying in Europe. So a lot of people do look at the MBA as a way of also migrating to Europe. In terms of the types of roles, we oftentimes have companies who want to recruit our students for leadership programs, leadership development programs. Given the nature of our program and the focus on leadership, it's such a natural draw. We obviously have certain key partners who tend to hire our students, I would say, year after year. I would say on average, we probably have more of an industry, let's say, focus in terms of placement than some other MBA programs. We will still always send people to consulting and some people to finance. But because of the slightly older age profile of our students, and I would say the focus on leadership, we tend to be quite attractive to industry, be it B2B or B2C. And I'd say about probably 25 to 35% will stay in Switzerland, another 35% in the rest of Europe, and then the rest spread throughout the rest of the world. This year, we took the whole class to Singapore for a month for what we call the Future Lab, and that also sparked a lot of interest in people actually looking at Singapore and Asia. So I think we may have even more people ending up there in the future. Another key element that we introduced this year into the program, which I think ties very closely to leadership, and for which we won the Poets and Quants Program of the Year award last year, is what we call transversal skills. And transversal skills essentially are what we view as the skills that people will need to know in what we call an AI-enhanced world. And the reason I call them transversal is because they're skills which cross the reality all functions, but are not necessarily taught in any one function. This includes things such as problem solving, decision making, pattern recognition, systems thinking, really the humanistic skills, which, like I say, I firmly believe are going to be fundamental to be competitive in an AI-enhanced world. We also have two skills within that, which are storytelling and executive presence. And those, I keep telling our students, AI will make sure that your PowerPoints look beautiful, and therefore it'll no longer, being able to do a great PowerPoint presentation is no longer a competitive advantage. What will be is your ability to convince the audience based on that presentation that this is the direction they should go. So I've actually stopped telling people to present, because I don't want them to present what they've done. I want them to convince people of an argument. And for me, at the end of the day, leadership becomes essentially your ability to move people in a certain direction. And for that, I think these skills become fundamental and are a complement to our existing leadership stream.